All right. Hello, everyone. Hopefully the volume's not too loud on the background music. If it is, let me know. I'm going to eat this donut. Welcome to It Builds Character number 11. What is It Builds Character, you ask? It's a weekly show where on Twitch, with the help of you guys in the chat, I build various characters in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. This could be something like we're building tonight, where it was a concept, a Warforged pirate, or something we might see like we've seen in other weeks where you ask me to build a specific character, like last week with Sephiroth. So, all of the, outside of the first episode, every episode since has been a suggestion by one of the viewers, whether it be here in this chat, from comments on the YouTube videos, or what have you. So, I leave it up to you guys. We're already good. We've already got topics into next February. So, if more topics come up, I'll keep adding them to the list, and this series will go as long as you guys want it to. I can say with certainty now that on November 8th, we won't be having a session as I will be out of the area for a work trip. But other than that, it should go pretty consistently. Just a couple other announcements to take care of before we jump into this stream. This coming Monday, the 23rd, is the debut of a brand new campaign here on the channel. Currently, every other Monday, we play Horde of the Dragon Queen, with 4 of my female friends playing through as their adventuring group, the Belladonnas. But the off Monday was currently an open slot. It is now going to be filled by a Princess of the Apocalypse playthrough, with Chelsea from North by Northwest, Brittany from the Venture Maidens, Bucky from Taking Initiative, and Davis from Dank Dungeons. So we have a full crew of all people in the D&D community, and the first episode airs at 9 p.m. next Monday. So if you're around and you have the time, come check it out. It should be interesting. We're going to be doing a little intro to each character and then jumping into kind of a dungeon. And then we'll do a flashback the following session about how the group met. Also, if you're playing through Tomb of Annihilation or you haven't gotten your hands on one of these Dungeon Master screens for Tomb of Annihilation, stay tuned. I was lucky enough to get a hold and finally and talk to the folks at Gale Force 9, the company who makes the D&D spell cards and the campaign-specific Dungeon Master screens. They sent me this copy, kind of pretty much. They may be available in person now. I'm not sure yet, or at game stores, but they sent me this copy to do a review on. So that's probably actually going to be. I'm going to be filming the review probably post this video. Or this stream, so I'll be on the lookout for that. And let's move on. So, alright guys, also when we build characters here on It Builds Character, we stick with as least amount of homebrew as possible. Sometimes that's just not the case. And we use the standard array of stats, which is 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8. The reason we use those is that way it keeps all the characters relatively balanced. You can't rely on rolled stats, and while I could do point buy, it just adds one more layer of complexity to a stream that could get pretty complex. So, I have no real... I had some vision about this Warforged pirate. So first of all, what's a Warforged? Maybe you don't even know what a Warforged is. A Warforged is a sentient living construct machine. I guess they were very popular. They were brought into life essentially with the Eberron campaign, which is kind of the steampunk of the D&D setting. And the very first Unearthed Arcana article ever released was called Unearthed Arcana Eberron Material, or Unearthed Arcana Eberron. Some of these we actually saw because I believe the Warforged made, or the Artificer, one of the two made an appearance. Also, that's where the Artificer came from, that same campaign setting. In the original, very first Dungeons & Dragons Extra Life stream, I think there was both an Arcana or an Arcana, a Warforged, and an Artificer. So they sort of developed this, and this was the first ever playtest material we got. We got a couple other things in here. Changeling as a base race. Shifter, which is like I guess the best way you could describe that is like a tiefling, but with lycanthrope rather than demon heritage. And the Warforged. This was back when Wizards of the Coast didn't really know how to do new classes, because nothing had really been balanced for 5e at that point. So if you see, the Warforged only got a +1 strength and +1 con, whereas every other class pretty much gets a +2 to one and 1 to another. Speed is 30 feet. You get a +1 AC due to your parts being made of wood and metal. You are immune to disease. You do not need to eat or breathe, but can ingest food and drink if you wish. Instead of sleeping, you power down for 4 hours a day. You do not dream, and you're fully aware of your surroundings. Notice approaching enemies and other events as normal. And you can speak, read, and write common in a language of your choice. I've seen a lot of complaints about how underpowered this is compared to other races, especially now when you look at something like how the Yuan-Ti race has immunity to poison type right out the gate, and again, they probably didn't even have vision on that back then. I'll also point you to the Gearforged race from Kobold Press in their Midgard Heroes supplement. You can see this is basically the same thing. They did a +1 to 2 different ability scores of your choosing. They got do not need to eat, drink, or breathe. They cannot naturally sleep. Basically, you can heal. They also said that you can't be saved, spare the dying, and had to be mending. You basically don't get as much hit points back from healing spells, and you're immune to poison, disease, poison, and the poison condition. Basically, you could be knocked out, but you could live essentially forever. Because you're just a machine as long as somebody powers you back up. Again, this was also early in the 5e development when they put this together at Kobold Press, and I feel like they gave you the half healing from healing spells to offset the fact that you were immune to poison and disease. And I just don't think that that should be the case, given how some of the newer races are clearly, I'd say, much more powerful. So I just wanted to show you this. We're going to use this version here, but we're just going to append it and give them immunity to poison and the poison condition as well. And we're going to make this a +2 strength, +1 con. That, I think, puts you on par with the Yuan-Ti as a race. So, you may say, oh, well, a pirate, you're probably going to make it a rogue, right? And while doing a rogue swashbuckler is probably the most cliche version of a pirate, and then also pretty accurate, we did just do that for episode 9 with or maybe it was even episode 11 or episode 8. I'm starting to lose track. They're all starting to blur together. We did Captain Jack Sparrow, and we basically made him the quintessential swashbuckler character, because he's a little more flighty and he uses his charisma a lot, which fits the swashbuckler. A Warforged clearly could be charismatic. It's all in the construction, but not typically what jumps to mind. So we're going to give him, starting off, 8 charisma, our Warforged pirate. He is going to have... You're absolutely right, Zelda Master. They don't need to breathe. They are your submersible. They're also great. You don't have to worry about them, as far as really the weather. They've got a lot of good things going for them. They are your, this would also explain how they could afford to do cool stuff and upgrade their own armor. So, hello Halo Craft. Hello everybody in the chat. I'm actually going to give him 10 dexterity. I'm going to give him 12 wisdom. And let's see, what are we going to do? 15 strength? Let's go 15 con, so that goes to 16. We're going to go 13 intelligence and 14 strength, so that's also going to go to 16. Now, I'm going to tell you right now that his background is pirate, the pirate variant of the fighter, which I've already, or the private variant of the sailor, which I've already put in here, and I'm making him a fighter, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to make him a fighter, a battle master fighter, and I'm going to take this Warforged pirate. He started off basically doing what Zelda Master just said in the chat. He was the guy who jumped off the ship and sunk to the bottom, retrieved the buried treasure because he could, because he didn't have to breathe. But now he has rose through the pirate ranks and has become a captain. And I imagine that the Battle Master fighter makes a decent captain due to the way they have different maneuvers and they can maneuver people around the battlefield. Or in this case, the ship. So let's go ahead and give him his abilities. So, he is immune to poison, disease, and the poisoned condition. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it, right? Yeah. Oh, do not need to eat or breathe. Do not sleep or breathe. Halocraft, which is easier to use, a wizard or a warlock. If you're a first-time player and you're asking for ease, I'm going to point you towards warlock. Only because a wizard has so many spells that they have to they don't have that they have to memorize, but your spell list will become massive over the course of a campaign. I mean, at a first level, a wizard gets 6 spells. They have to know 6 spells. They get an additional 2 spells every level, plus copying them from spells books or scrolls into their spell book. Whereas a warlock has limited numbers of spells. They're cast at higher level, and you get some cooler stuff from your pact, and then also from your patron. So for pure ease of less things to manage, warlock I would say would be easier. That's true. Warlocks can wear armor and do have a higher hit die. And then again, because of the way some of them are built, you can get access to some cooler things, like an improved familiar. You can drastically expand your spell casting with ritual casting. You could do the Pact of the Blade and get stuff that way. So I'd say I've seen people play warlocks easily, and then they go to a wizard and they're just overwhelmed by the amount of spells they need to manage. Not saying that that'll happen to you, but that's just my point. What I would say. All right, so back to this. We are a fighter. So, fighting style. What is our pirate Warforged captain going to use as his weapon, or as his weapon of choice, I guess? We could give him defense and really boost up his AC pretty crazy. Because he's got the +1 AC from being a Warforged. No, let's go 2-weapon fighting. I don't ever really make these 2-man, so we'll go 2-weapon fighting. Second wind. Bonus action heal 1d10 plus fighter level. Gonna have action surge. What else we got? Alright, so we got Battle Master. Let's flip to that. Oh, you know what we can do is ability scores as well. So let's do that. We've got 4. This goes to 18. 6. This is going to go to 20. So that is level 6. Level 8. Let's see. Level 8. We're going to go with 18 con. So we're going to go down here. Well, we can switch up the order, but we'll basically say ability score improvements. And we're going to say dual wielder feat, +2 strength, +2 strength, +2 con. So that's what we're looking at. This is going to be a 5, 0, 4, 1, 1. And we'll come back because we may be getting some... we'll have to see if we're going to be adding any specific magic items to that. But let's take a look at his Battle Master stuff. So, Battle Master, he's going to get 3 maneuvers of his choice. At this point, he'll actually have a total of 5 maneuvers. And he will have 5 superiority dice. And those superiority dice will be D10s. So why don't we go ahead and just put that all in here. Battle Master. Let's separate this out. 5 superiority dice. D10s. 5 maneuvers known. No, we should put this. Short rest. Charge. 5 maneuvers known. Now let's pick out our maneuvers. So, what are good things for a pirate? For a pirate commander. So we're gonna captain. We're gonna give him Commander Strike. So this, if maybe I just jumped the gun on that, but let's zoom in a little bit. And here so you guys can really see it. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can forego one of your attacks. Oh hey, look what we got here. Thank you, Chelsea, for the host. So Commander Strike. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can forego one of your attacks to use a bonus action. Tice the Betrayer, you, with your puns. I'm not sure about this character sheet. It looks a little forged. Ha! Oh, you. So the Commander Strike, as we were saying, is when you take the attack action, forego one of your attacks to have an forego one of your attacks and use a bonus action to have an ally make an attack. I believe that's all of the qualifiers for that. Wow, we should put that using their reaction. And the reason that he wants to have this is because he's a pirate captain. Being a pirate captain, he's probably going to have a lot of roguey type creatures. A Commander Strike lets them use their sneak attack technically a second time. Sneak attack's functionality is only once per turn, but that is when you go as a rogue on your turn, you make a sneak attack, right? Boom, you hit. Then, if your commander, your battle master fighter here says you attack again on his turn, that is a new turn. The rogue can get sneak attack again. So this is a way for a commander to make best use of his sneaky type assassins or his thieves or his swashbucklers or what have you. So that's one of his maneuvers. There is a potential as either a scout rogue coming in Xanathar's or the thief rogue in the player's handbook to do 3 sneak attacks per turn. The thief rogue at level 17 gets a second action on the first round of combat at their initiative -10. So that could be sneak attack on their first round, sneak attack on their second round, and then a reaction-based sneak attack, whether it be from Commander Strike or an opportunity attack. To your point, Zelda, yes, Riposte, absolutely. We're going to add that one in because Riposte and Parry are two pretty much, I would say they're almost staples of a Battle Master build. So Riposte is when a creature misses you with a melee attack, you can use your reaction to expend a superiority die. If you hit, you add that to the damage. So Reaction when you are... Did I read that right? Missed? Yeah. When you are missed by... Is it melee? I feel like I just read this. Melee attack. Yeah, okay. Missed by a melee attack. Actually, when you're missed by a melee attack, you roll a... We're just going to shorten superiority dice to SD. So I don't have to write superiority dice a million times. When you are missed by a melee attack, you roll a superiority die. If you hit, you add it to the damage. Alright, we're going to jump back. So, oh, you know what? I was thinking parry was a different one. We're probably going to skip that, because that does reduce the damage. We're going to add precision attack, because that's a staple. When a creature damages you with a... Or no, I'm sorry. When you make a melee weapon attack, you expend a superiority die roll, or superiority die. You add it to the attack roll before you know if it's a hit or miss. So that is going to be precise attack. Add SD to attack roll before the outcome. And that's 3. We've got 2 more. Let's see here. Sweeping attack. Rally is healing. He has no charisma, so that's not really gonna work. Let's go with disarming attack. I like that. I like the idea of your pirate captain doing the whole knocking weapon out of somebody else's hand. So when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, expend a superiority die to attempt to disarm them. You add the superiority die to the attack's damage roll, and the target makes a strength save. On a failed save, it drops the item. So we're going to go disarming strike. Words. And SD to damage. Is that on if it hits? No, this is when you hit. Okay. When you hit, superiority die to damage. Creature makes a strength save or drops the item. And then we've got one more. Trip attack's not bad. Menacing attack is not bad either. I'm not sorry, menacing it. Oh yeah, menacing attack. That's where they make the wisdom saving throw or be frightened of you. Not a bad move. You know what? I'm gonna go with pushing attack, because they can be pushed 15 feet away from you, and if this guy is a pirate captain on a pirate ship, knocking somebody 15 feet back could knock them off the side of the boat. And that's a pretty solid maneuver overall. So we're going to say... Because, like, a shove attack as part of the shove action is only a 5-foot knockback. This is 15. That's pretty big. That gives you also the opportunity to help maneuver... because there's nothing there's nothing saying you can't use multiple superiority die on a turn. So you could theoretically push a guy 15 foot back and then activate your commander's strike ability, assuming you still have a bonus action, to knock him in range of your rogue. So when you hit, and spirit to damage, and then larger, smaller, makes a strength save or push 15 feet. Large or smaller creature makes a strength or is pushed 15 feet. Alright, so that is the majority of our Battle Master stuff. We're going to jump down here to add his extra attack. And he's got 3. 3 total, because he broke level 11 fighter. What else does he get? We get another martial archetype feature. We've got Indomitable. So we're going to go ahead and put Indomitable in here. Oh god, I can never spell this. Indomitable. Indomitable. Reroll 1 failed saving throw. And then he has whatever his Battle Master observation move. What is it called here? Know your enemy. Know your enemy. When taking 1 minute to observe a creature, you can learn the following. So you know I've spent too much time in D&D as I can recite the player's handbook from memory here. Alright, strength score. Can I just copy this? Is this going to break my character sheet? Probably. Hey, no, it worked. Great. Halocraft, how do I remember all of this? Way too much time on my hands. And if you think about all the things that I've pushed out of my brain, that I've forgotten to remember all this D&D stuff, well, you know, I wonder how much more I could do for the world or at my job had I not put so much time into memorizing all the D&D stuff. So, oh, my donut. Well, as of right now, he's looking pretty good. We can go through and fill out all of his stats for the moment. 8. 1. 1. Minus 1. Alright, 0. 1. 9. 3. Oh no, sorry. Negative 1. 1. 5. Negative 1. 1. 5. Negative 1. Negative 1. 1. 0. 0. 5. Yeah, Zelda Master, that would probably be the most, make the most sense, would be cutlasses, which we're going to call long swords, because we'll go Cutlass 1 and Cutlass 2. So we've already said that this guy is a Warforged captain of a pirate ship, and he got this money because of all the sunken treasure he was able to unearth with his ability to not have to breathe. So he's actually going to be fun because we're going to get to truly mess around with the Dungeon Master Guide and give this guy a full slew of weapons. So let's open up the DMG here as well. I want to jump to the magic items section. And we're going to come back because I know I have a couple things I know he's already going to get right off the bat. So here we go. So why don't we jump back over here, and we're going to say, what does he have as far as magic items? He's going to have mithril plating. Attached to Warforged body. Now that is kind of a throwback to when Eberron came out, and in the player's handbook there were certain feats you used to be able to, or the Eberron campaign setting, there were certain things you used to be able to take as a Warforged, and you could get yourself access to certain abilities. Like you could choose to get your, rather than being made out of like iron and wood, you could get yourself made out of mithril plating, which would raise increase your movement speed. You could get yourself made out of adamantine plating, and that would increase your AC but slow you down. There was one that was made out of hardened magical ironwood, so you could become a druid, because technically if you're made out of metal, you're sort of wearing metal armor, so that breaks what it needs to be a druid. So he's going to have mithril plating. Mithril... Let's rephrase that. Mithril plate mail plating. That way he has an 18 AC, but he can still have disadvantage. He won't have disadvantage on stealth checks. And with that, that gives him an 18 AC base, but he's a Warforged, so that goes to 19. But we're going to put in parentheses 20, because if he's dual-wielding his cutlasses, that gives him a +1 to his AC, so his AC will go up to 20. And we're going to go and see what else we have that we can add into this guy. We're probably going to give him some badass cutlasses, because, you know, that's sort of his whole deal, right? Let's see. We gave him... we could give him an animated shield, but I'm going to say probably not. We gave him mithril armor, so we're going to ignore the +1s and things of that nature. This isn't really a magic item. We're going to give him a portable hole. We're going to say that that's how he was able to transfer all of his stuff from the depths. Let's see. We're going to give him... We'll give him boots of levitation. Because I'm thinking if he sinks all the way down and he sticks all of the gold and the treasure in the portable hole, folds the portable hole and puts it in, now he's at the bottom of the ocean. How does he get back up? So I'm thinking maybe potentially boots of levitation, and he just like whoop, right back up to the boat, and that's how he's able to dive down and get the treasure. Although that was sort of his past life before he became a captain, but we'll keep that in mind. We'll come back to that. He could use bracers of defense since he's technically... Oh, he's wearing armor. Never mind. That answers that question. Let's see. I mean, obviously, we can go pretty crazy, and what we can give him, we could give him a Cape of the Mountebank, which would give him, you know, the ability to Dimension Door. That could be how he got the treasure back. But if he sank more than 400 feet down to the bottom to get this back, the Dimension Door would have no use. Chime of Opening, possibly to open these, but I'm imagining he's more of a strong arm guy, just breaking things open rather than trying to, you know, finesse open these locks. Cloak of Displacement is always useful. You go Cloak of the Bat, and he could polymorph into a bat, but that doesn't allow him to bring the treasure back with him. I'm thinking we're just going to give him some badass swords, and maybe the boots of levitation. So... Let's see here. You know what? He doesn't have his dark vision, so we're going to give him goggles of night, because that will allow him to see in the dark underneath the water there. So we'll give him goggles of night. Let's go with... You know what? Because I've always loved it, he's getting a Flame Tongue cutlass and a Frost Brand cutlass. And he's just going to freaking wield both elements, because I always thought it was so cool. So we're going to give him Frost Brand cutlass. This is my character. I get to kind of build this guy. So we're going to have some fun with it. And we'll go and add in what these do right now. So, we've got the Flame Tongue. Let's see. Attacks. Do... it's a bonus action to set sword ablaze. Attacks deal an additional 2d6 fire damage and sheds light 20-foot radius. Oh wow, 40-foot radius. That's actually a lot of light. That's like double the range of a torch. Sheds bright light a 40-foot radius Frostbrand, resistance to fire damage. Warforged Pirate Hypertroller. Frostbrand does an additional D6 colding. Does additional D6 cold damage. Does an additional 1d6 cold damage. I think it lets off a blue light. Sheds bright light in a 10-foot radius. You can put out all non-magical fires. When drawn, can put out all non-magical fires. Huh. That's interesting. I just thought of something. We'll talk about it in a second. Within 30 feet of you. Usable once per hour. Yeah, I mean, he's going. We're gonna assume that he's aware of all of this. So, you know, I mean, he might pull out the Frostbrand at first. You know, that might be the main hand, and we'll see whatever he ends up using. So we've got Cutlass 1 is going to be 9, 1d8 plus 1d6 cold plus 5. And then we've got 9, 1d8 plus 2d6 fire plus 5. So yeah, right now he's base immune to poison, disease, and the poison condition. He does not need to eat, sleep, or breathe. He has 2-weapon fighting, so he adds his proficiency bonus to his offhand attack. He's got, yep, he's 100% fighter, Hypertroller. He is the pirate captain. He can heal himself a little bit with a bonus action using his second wind if he needs to. He has 5 superiority dice to use his commander's strike to potentially command his roguish allies to get another sneak attack to hopefully drop a powerful enemy. Riposte to turn a missed attack from an enemy into a chance for him to do some extra damage. Precise attack for when he needs to hit. Disarming attack to take the items out of the hands of an enemy caster. Pushing attack to potentially knock larger, smaller creatures off the side of the boat. He's got 3 attacks with his main hand, or 3 attacks, and then he can have a bonus action offhand attack. By studying his enemy, he can gain the following knowledge about them, all of this right here, which is again a useful talent for a pirate captain to be able to study their enemy and find insight about them. He has Indomitable, so he can reroll 1 failed saving throw. His body is made of, his Warforged body is made of mithril plate mail plating. He has a portable hole, goggles of night, and we're just going to give him the boots. Boots of levitation. And I think that's levitate. Is that levitate at will? Yeah, there you go. Levitate at will. Cast levitate at will. Hypertroller, the reason you actually missed that, I covered that exact your exact point there, that a pirate is full fighter rather than, in this case, rather than a swashbuckler rogue, because we did a full swashbuckler rogue, stereotypical, all for when we did Captain Jack Sparrow. Swashbucklers use charisma. I don't imagine many Warforged are very charismatic, due to the fact that they're literally machines. So, oh, we didn't do his health. So that is 10 10 times 11, 110, plus 14 at first level, so 124 HP. With his 2 swords wielded, he's got a 20 AC, so he's fairly hard to hit. And he's I mean, I don't think I'd have any problem being on this I mean, depending with riposte, that's true. With riposte, that's 5 attacks per round. I mean, I don't know if that's true, Hypertroller. I'm not exactly sure what build you're talking about that lets you do 6 attacks in a round. Unless you're talking about... well, actually, that's not true at all. If you're saying 6 attacks in a round using your... using Action Surge, you only get 1 bonus action attack as a Barbarian, and you only ever get... as a Frenzy Barbarian, and you only ever get 1 bonus action a round. Correct. So the most you could do with 2 level dip into Fighter and Barbarian is 5 attacks, which would be 2 from Action Surge, 2 from your regular attack, and 1 from your bonus action. If you want to go full tilt with this guy, he can do 3 for his action, 1 for his bonus action, 1 for his reaction, and if he action surges, he can do another 3. So he can do 6 attacks with his action, a bonus action attack for 7 attacks, and an 8th attack with his reaction. So he could do 8 attacks in a turn. Our Warforged captain. Which, of course, because he's a robot, I imagine a General Grievous situation where his middle spins around and he just, flurries like crazy at these guys. So that would be my... how I envision that in my head. That's how that looks. But yeah, I mean, I'd help this guy out. I'd be on this guy's boat. I mean, first of all, the imagery of this metal man in a pirate outfit wielding a sword on fire and a sword covered in frost, just wading through enemies, knocking people right, commanding his allies to attack. The fact that he could just he could just grapple somebody and leap off the side of the boat and just take them down to the bottom of the ocean and just hold them there if he was truly a brutal person and just have them suffocate. He doesn't have to breathe, let them go, and then just levitate back up to the top. Which is a pretty nasty tactic. Hypertroller, that you only get the offhand attack with Frenzied Barbarian is a bonus action. You only get 1 bonus action per turn, regardless of Action Surge. So, your Frenzied Barbarian can only get 5. Extra attack is 2 attacks. Action Surge is 2 more, and 1 bonus action, regardless of Action Surge. There is tons of documentation on this. It even says this right in the player's handbook. And then tons of documentation in Sage Advice. You'll only ever have 1 bonus action, no matter what you do. I mean, you want to get technically crazy, that somebody could cast haste on this guy, and we could add in another attack on top of that. And he'd be doing bananas damage. So I'm not going to debate about it, but this is the most attacks you're going to get in a round, is this guy. The only way you could potentially get more is a 17th level Drunken Master Fighter can do 7 attacks in 1 round without Action Surge. So I guess the most attacks you could do in a round would be a Drunken Master Fighter with a 2 level dip could do 2, 4, 9 attacks in a round. So yeah, but that's another story. But the reason I got all excited was I read the thing on Frostbrand, and it's very much DM fiat on this. It really depends on your dungeon master. But this right here, when you draw this weapon, you extinguish all non-magical flames within 30 feet of you. I've gone back and forth, and I found official documentation and had conversations with the folks who made 5th edition, Jeremy Crawford, Mike Merles, about the nature of dragon fire. Dragon fire is non-magical fire, such that if you have armor of invulnerability and you activate armor of invulnerability, you could take a red dragon's breath weapon with your armor of invulnerability active and take 0 damage from it. Because while that's activated, you have immunity to non-magic damage, and dragon fire is non-magical fire, and all of a dragon's attacks are non-magical attacks. So you could potentially take on a dragon and take 0 points of damage as long as you're able to defeat it in 10 minutes. But the wording, it says non-magical flames. Theoretically, if you had your sword in its sheath and it was the dragon's turn, right? You're fighting a red dragon, let's say, in this instance, or any dragon that has fire breath weapon, and you ready in action to draw your sword when the dragon breathes. When the dragon does its breath weapon, if you're technically ready to draw, you could theoretically use the Frostbrand's ability to extinguish non-magical flames within 30 feet to extinguish the dragon's breath weapon because it's non-magical fire. That, again, is obviously heavily reliant on your DMs, whether or not they think that would be allowed. Personally, I would allow it because I think it's crazy, and I think it's super cool, and I would totally do that. If you were to come up, read this, and go for that one specific rule to determine that this was a thing you could do, I would totally allow it, because I would lose my shit if you did that. Because how cool would that be, right? The dragon goes to breathe, and you're like... and all the flames go out. Awesome. Yes. Hypertroller. Cunning actions are... There's no such thing as a cunning action. The only thing is a cunning action is a rogue's ability. And that is a rogue's ability only. And that a cunning action is a rogue's ability to use a bonus action. But a hasted action from a haste spell is its own separate action. You only have a bonus action unless you have a feature that grants you one. That is true. But you only can ever have one bonus action, but a hasted action is an additional action that's separate from any other action, regardless of your bonus action. You could not have a bonus action and still make an attack with a hasted action. It is a common paladin move, is cast haste on the paladin, because 11th level beyond paladin does an extra d8 radiant damage with every hit that it makes. So the smart move is to cast some sort of thing that boosts the damage of attacks on the fighter who has more attacks, and cast something that gives the paladin extra attacks because they do extra damage already. So, a longsword wielding paladin or a great sword wielding paladin at level 11 does 2d6 plus a d8 on every hit without smites. If you can add a third attack in there for them, that's huge. So, but that's neither here nor there. So I think our guy is pretty much done. Our Warforged pirate, his stats are pretty solid. He's intelligent, he's a little bit wise, he's not very charismatic or dexterous, but he's a robot. He's got decent natural immunities. Haste is a 3rd level spell. To answer your question, he's got his 5 superiority dice and his 5 maneuvers. His superiority dice are also d10s, so keep that in mind. And as he levels up at this point now, he'd probably start using feats to get additional superiority dice with the martial adept feature, so he could have more of those. Those all recharge on a short rest. Again, he'll get higher up. He'll have multiple action surges and things of that nature. He'll have additional Indomitable. He's got his plating. He's got his badass swords and his ability to levitate. Hypertroller, people don't use haste more often because only certain people have access to it. Pretty much, I think only sorcerers and wizards have access to haste. So that is why. So, let's go over here and we'll go... we'll pull up the plan for the characters, and then we're going to call this an end to this episode. I actually did not update it with Sephiroth's information from when we did Sephiroth last week. But we did the Warforged Pirate this week. Next week is Nobby Knobs from Discworld, which I will confess up front I know literally nothing about. So I will have to do full research on that, and then you can see again we're all the way out to February. So, yeah, guys, I appreciate you coming out and hanging out with me and going through this It Builds character. Yeah, if you guys have any other suggestions, you can leave them here in the chat. If you're watching live on Twitch, if you're watching on YouTube, you can leave them in the comments below. I will add them to the list. You can always check out the future planned episodes at bit.ly/ibcplan. Yeah, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope whose name slips my mind, who suggested me to do the Warforged Pirate, that this did exactly what you wanted me to do, or at least gave you an idea of what you wanted to see as a Warforged Pirate. This is my take on it. Obviously, you could take it your own way. Make it a dexterous one, make it a rogue or a swashbuckler, but I thought it'd be different to be a strength-based pirate. So, there is not John Constantine or Lucifer Morningstar on that list. But yeah, guys, I'm going to call it quits here. And I'm going to jump over back on Twitch to the Venture Maidens channel, as they are my friends, and they are streaming as we speak. They are also, Brittany from the Venture Maidens is going to be one of the players in the game coming up on Monday. So be sure to come see that game. It's going to be interesting. So, anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week.